Just to give some background on this video, this will cover the original run that came out in the 90s on Cartoon Network and Toonami, which started with the Ocean dub and then was taken over by Funimation. For the sake of arguments, I am pretending that this is the only version of Dragon Ball Z that exists and will be judging it as such. Hopefully anyone that watches this video that didn't grow up with this version will learn some things and maybe understand why so many hold it in such high regard despite its issues. When the reporter is shown on TV, he has like peach fuzz for a mustache, but then when it cuts to in person, he has a big bushy mustache. This is the best introduction to a villain in the whole series, from the build-up of the previous episode to the ominous music and the shadowy entrance. Yeah, 2 points here. I'm gonna keep saying this every time a scene happens, but shout out to Bruce Falconer for these theme songs, man. This theme song for Imperfect Cell, ironically, is perfect. It's also very similar to the Cats theme song in Courage the Cowardly Dog, which is what I used for the intro, if you didn't catch it. But these theme songs just fit so perfectly for a lot of these characters, for a lot of these moments, and they really capture the essence of what these characters mean, in my opinion. So I gotta give them a point here. I've been waiting for this episode for a long time because there's quite a bit of stuff to break down. Number one, Cell's backstory always confused me when I was younger. I was always confused at how Cell was able to defeat Trunks if Trunks was strong enough to defeat the androids. And I never really understood why there were 3 Cells and only 2 androids and 3 Trunkses. The whole thing just confused me. And the English dub didn't really do a great job of explaining that there was a third timeline. Obviously, now we know that there was 3 timelines, but I didn't get it back then. I just didn't get it. In the third timeline that we never really see, this is where this Cell comes from. Trunks deactivated the androids. He never actually fought them. Well, he might have fought them, but he didn't destroy them in a fight. He deactivated them. And then that Trunks was coming to this timeline to either bring the remote or tell them how to make it, but he got killed by Cell and yada yada yada. The anime never explains it very well, but the picture on screen gives the best breakdown.
Frieza made a brief visit to Earth before he finally met his end at the hands of Trunks.
This Cell would not have known that Trunks defeated Frieza, because in the unaltered timeline, Goku used the instant transmission to get to Earth and defeat Frieza. So this is a mistranslation.
Kamehameha? The only way he could know that is if he studied under Master Roshi.
This is not true, as Tien has used the Kamehameha in Dragon Ball against Master Roshi and he was never a student. And technically, when Goku first did it, he wasn't a student either. He had just learned by seeing it.
I do not fear this new challenge. Rather, like a true warrior, I will rise to meet it.
Dog, Vegeta is so cold. His speeches in this dub are so top tier. So inspirational, man. Chi-Chi's dress, or whatever you want to call this, her overshirt, it turns from purple to dark blue and then back to purple near the end of this episode. The Hell Zone grenade is one of the coldest techniques in Dragon Ball Z history. Tien's arms are briefly shown that he's already doing the stance for his tri-beam, but in the very next frame, Tien is in a regular stance, and then he does his tri-beam stance. This is a cool reference, but how would any Earthling know about Super Saiyans enough to make t-shirts? Doesn't really make sense in context, but still a cool reference.
Cell would sense your blast.
Cell wouldn't be able to sense her blast because she's an android. He probably meant that he would see the blast, but it's still a mistranslation. Alright, this animation, I know they could have done better than this. This kind of animation I expect from Dragon Ball Super in 2015 or 2016. I don't expect this from top-notch animation from 1992. Come on now. Alright, I know this is like a big debate. Who was more wrong in the Cell Saga? Was Goku wrong for giving Gohan a Senzu Bean? Was Vegeta wrong? Everybody is a dumbass here. Everybody in this saga is a dumbass. 18 is dumb for not leaving when Cell was distracted fighting Vegeta. Krillin is dumb for destroying the remote. Vegeta is dumb for letting Cell absorb the android, and Trunks is dumb for not destroying 18. Everybody has a little bit of dumb to go around. I want to give them props here because having Cell become complete and Gohan becoming a Super Saiyan in the same episode is a great script parallel and also maybe a hint of foreshadowing. This is the first time we see Vegeta's most iconic attack, the Final Flash. Everything about this scene is perfect, from the build-up to the background music to the actual attack, hitting Cell. They get a point here for this. Trunks' boots don't have the armored, like, brown tips that they normally have right here. The flashback in this episode isn't consistent with the History of Trunks TV special, but I'm not counting it as a mistake since the History of Trunks came out 4 months after this episode aired.